So the long card number is 4763.
Yep.
67. Wait.
Who's this?
Harry, you don't need to buy the RS2, mate. You've already got the original Ronin S, and you don't use no bloody doing it
this has
anyway.
got
All sorts of
many new
awesome
features, and I really,
like
really want
touchscreen
it.
and active track and carbon fibre and everything. You know you want it.
Yeah, fuck off with your sensible opinion.
Don't listen to him.
Yeah, fuck off with your logical opinion on this.
You know I'm right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you are. Good morning, afternoon, evening, night, whatever it is, wherever it is that you're watching in the world. I'm just in the process of filming for what for you would be last week's video. So if you haven't already watched it, then I'll stick a link up here. Is it? Yeah, up there. Go on. So you can go and watch it, then you'll see a little bit more what I'm on about. But the idea is, for the opening part of the video, I want some kind of, like, conscience, my little conscience, like good and bad, sat on each shoulder, giving me the different opinions on buying the new gimbal or not. But obviously that would be almost impossible to do with masking. I mean, you could probably do it, but it will take hours and hours and hours and hours of keyframing each frame for each one and moving, and you know, it just wouldn't look as good as it could. So I thought, I've had a green screen for a few weeks now, which I haven't even got out of the packet. So I thought green screen's perfect for that because I can just key it out. So I thought I'd take you along and just show you the behind the scenes of how hopefully this effect is going to come out. Before I started filming, I did get the green screen out and I've attached it to my shelf, as you can see here. However, as you can see, this room isn't big enough to swing a small cat, let alone film something quite complex and light something as complex as this on a green screen. So it's just like, there's the camera there, even with 60mm on full frame. That distance there is less than 2 meters. It's just not enough, let alone trying to get this light to light the subject and other lights to try and light the screen up so the keying works well. It just wasn't going to happen. So I'm thinking the room is longer than it is wide. So I'm thinking if I can find some way of fixing the screen along there and basically have the length of the room then and just empty the rest of the stuff out for the moment. Hopefully that will give me enough space to actually get the effect that I'm looking for. So yeah, let's get everything emptied out and see if we can get the screen up on the wall. Right, that is the space as clear as I can get it, so hopefully that's enough room to pull this off and make it look good enough for me to actually put on the channel. If not, then well, I guess you'll never see this video then, because it'll be irrelevant. But anyway, so the next problem that I had is actually fixing the screen up there along the dildo rail. Not the dildo rail, what's it called? Dido rail. Easily confused, but I probably wouldn't use that as a dildo. Not that I'd use one. Anyway, I digress. I thought about screwing little hooks into the thing to hook the screen on, but then I thought the only way it's actually going to stay on is if I pierce the material with the hook. Then not only do I leave it open to fraying and rip in quite easily, it's also if I'm going in and out the door as well, I've got to take it off and it's just going to be a bit of a pain. So I had a bit of a brainwave. I got this, which is Velcro. And obviously I can't imagine the sticky stuff on the back is going to be strong enough. So I'm going to staple the bits that I stick to the top of the green screen. I'll staple just to make sure it's fastened on well. Then I've got a hammer and some small nails so I can just tack the stuff into the rail up here. So yeah, it can actually stay up there. So as and when I want to use the green screen, I can just scoot the desk out the way and Velcro the screen up. Then it's done. And then when I finish, obviously I can just take it off and it's all ready to go for the next time. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that'll do the trick, and then I can start getting my head around about how on earth I'm gonna find enough space to light and film it in such a small space. But yeah, I think I'll cross that bridge once the screen's up, and it just may mean the result isn't very good, but hey, if we don't try, we won't know. So yeah, let's give it a go. Didn't get any scissors. As Jeremy Clarkson says, sometimes I can even hear my own genius. Let's see if it actually works though. I might be eating my words. The job, this cheap IKEA stool is nice and strong and definitely not going to break. It's actually stuck on the dildo. I need to stop calling it that. It's actually stuck on the rail on the wall a lot better than I thought. The self-adhesive is actually really strong, so I'm hoping that I don't actually need to go and put nails in the wall, because I don't want to risk splitting the wood and making that come off the wall itself, because that would just be a really bad day out. But yeah, let's get the last few bits done and then let's try and work out a lighting setup that's going to make it work. Moment of truth, let's take the first bit up. I don't know if this is going to work. Let's get this hook out. Right, that's the first two up. This is actually going way too easy, so I'm just waiting for it to go wrong, but so far, so good. Alright, that is one green screen holding itself up on the wall. Let's do a quick test to see if it actually works. Yeah, that looks pretty good to me. So, now is the tricky bit. Now we've got to get the scene set up and lit so the final effect actually looks like it's actually happened, if that makes sense. But yeah, I'll do a bit of setting up, then I'll show you what I've come up with. So that is the setup, I think, as good as it's going to get. There's a few things that I've struggled to iron out, mainly because I haven't got enough lights or space to put them. Like, for example, I've got my big softbox here. I want the softest light I could get so I don't cast shadows onto the screen to mess up the key in effect. So that takes up, as you can see, pretty much the whole room. So I'm not too psyched on the lighting of the subject, but it's as good as it's going to get, and I have been back and forth a few times with some test footage and it looks fine. It keys out the green alright, which is I guess as good as it's going to get. The other problem I've got is, because I want to be sat down, I'll put a little stool underneath the green screen which allows me to sit down, which is good, but it also means that it pulls in at the edges here and gives quite big creases, which changes the shade of green because obviously the light's different, and that kind of is a little bit noticeable in the effects. But then I don't know how it's going to look when it's all done and colour graded, and I've had to play around with it, so I might be able to get around that. Other than that, I'll quickly show you through the little setup I've cobbled together. Got the 5D down there on a tripod. I've got my Godox SL60 in a big 90cm softbox. Here is the key light, but also because it's such a soft light, it's bounced. I've got it bouncing off the wall behind me just to fill in a bit of the green screen, because the green screen needs to be as well lit as possible, so it's just one single shade of green. I've then got my Yokoi LED stick on a stand here, just lighting up this corner, then another little softbox just over here, there, which isn't on at the moment, which then just fills in this gap, which gives a pretty much even lighting. So yeah, I'm going to try and put my acting head on and film all the different bits. I've written down a rough script, just got to put the microphone, which is on this camera at the moment, onto this boom stand, just so we get some nice crisp audio, and then hopefully it will come up quite well, and you would have already seen it anyway. It's also a bit echo in here, but you would have noticed that if you've watched any of my other videos.
Right, so now we've shot the green screen clips and the bit of my Oscar winning acting of me pretending to talk to each shoulder, which is far from impressive, but you know, it was a must have to make the effect work. So the video now is edited and it is going to go live tomorrow. However, I'm going to take this into Final Cut now and just show you a breakdown of all the steps taken just to pull that effect off. So without further ado, into Final Cut. Right, so this is my project. Open up the compound clip here. So in here we have the two green screen clips, The top one of which I've disabled all the effects, so you can see this is exactly how it came out of camera, and then the other shoulder and my amazing performance, which looks even more ridiculous when you play it back like that. Anyway, so let's just go through what I've done with this. So this is how it came out of camera. The first thing I've done is crop out the edges just to get rid of anything that wasn't green screen, so the mic stand, the light stand, the corner of the softbox and the wall and so on. If you don't have straight edges, then use a draw mask just to navigate those different shapes, but the crop tool, which is down here, crop, worked perfectly, and it's a lot quicker than having to draw the mask around things like that, because it is just dragging like it is in Lightroom type thing, which really speeds that process up. Once you've done that, you can then come over to your effects tab, type in keyer, drag and drop, and when that comes on, boom, green's disappeared. So this will need a little bit of fiddling with, again, very much depending on the look you're going for and how the clip's lit and the colours and all that kind of stuff. So what I'm saying now doesn't apply to every single clip, but I adjusted the spill level slightly, which does mess with the colours, but I had because of the small space in here and the white wall and things, it was reflecting a nice nasty green tinge onto me, so I just adjusted my spill level a bit towards the magenta side just to compensate for that. And then you can adjust your edge distance and things just to get the nice crisp effect around the outline. And then you've got your matte tools and things like that. Again, it's all very specific to the clip and the look that you're going for. The only other thing that you may well have to do is, if you're in a situation like I was, where your green screen wasn't well lit or tight enough, where you had the light moving and the green screen moving from me touching it, which was changing the shade of the green, so the keyer was excluding those shades of green. You may just need to go through frame by frame, and where you have it, you just see between my legs there, which I left in the end because it almost looked like a bit of a shadow on the shoulder, but you can just hit the sample colour, just drag around that little bit there, and it takes it out as well, just adds that hue of green to the keyer effect. And then again, you can sharpen up the edges with the edges tool. That sounds easy, and that's because it is, because the Final Cut does the work, and that's why it's worth taking the time to set up a green screen and light it as best you can. Or once I've done that, all I had to do then was a quick colour board with contrast and saturation, just get the exposure right, then a hue change, or hue and saturation curves, which basically just got rid of the shades of green that I didn't want on my skin, and just made the skin tones a bit nicer. Then nice and easy transform tool, so again back down here on the one down to the bottom left of the player window, where you can then basically rescaled, rotate slightly or on a bit of an angle, just so it sorts my slopey shoulders. So obviously your shoulder slopes, you naturally be at a bit of an angle. And then just position where you want it positioned, and already that is looking pretty much done, and it's because that's basically all it was. And then the last thing I've done was just had a quick draw mask around the bottom. Obviously I've moved it now so it doesn't line up properly, but basically just masked with a nice bit of feathering and stuff, just as you can see on the left hand side, just so it makes you, because the green screen wasn't long enough and I didn't have enough room to get the camera far enough away to get my feet in, I've just masked it out so it looks like my feet are down behind or down in front of the computer screen, which is why you can't see it on the camera. And I purposely shot the talking shot, so the main shot, with the laptop screen really close to me, because I knew I didn't have my feet in, so I knew I had to try and think about how I could obscure the feet to the camera, if that makes sense. And then yeah, that is the effect done. I turned all of that into a compound clip, and then just added a few colour board masks and stuff just to try and manipulate the lighting to suit as best I could. And then yeah, that was pretty much how the editing process is done. Sorry, I've crammed a lot of information in there, but I'm conscious of how long this video is probably going to be anyway for basically a simple effect. But yeah, it's nice and easy, great bit of fun. I'll definitely be doing stuff like this again in the future. The only things I've learned is that lighting on the green screen is so important, and if you've got the extra space, and make use of the space, and if you've got extra light, get that green as evenly lit as possible, and the tighter you can get the green screen, I might even consider like ironing mine maybe, just so it's as smooth as possible, just so you don't have any of those ripples and things like that that are quite easily missed. Then that would just make the effect look even better. And then the only other thing I wish I could have done is get a lot more distance between myself and the green screen, just so I didn't get that green cast on my face and on my body and things like that, which could get rid of most of it in post, but there's still, if you look really closely, there is like this green glow and stuff around my fingers and things. The further away from the screen you can be, the better. And yeah, I won't go into too much more green screen detail because there's a million videos on YouTube telling you exactly how to do it. So yeah, I hope that was a nice little insight, and let me know in the comments down below if you want to see more behind the scene videos just like this one. But yeah, until then, I hope you liked this video. If you did, then hit the like button down below because that is really, really appreciated. And whilst you're down there, why not hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. But until then, I'll see you in the next one.